Madam City Clerk, are we ready?
We are.
If so, please proceed with your preliminary meeting instructions.
Thank you. This is the Art in Public Places Advisory Board meeting of February 6, 2023. It is being held with a quorum of advisory board members physically in attendance at the Westlake Council Chambers, 4005 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Please allow me to confirm any speakers that are virtually present and available to speak. Mr. Duty, City Attorney, are you available to speak? And can you hear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Public comments may be accepted prior to the meeting utilizing the electronic comment card available on the city's website. Public comments are also permitted at the appropriate time. The board chair will call for such during public comment, and you may participate at this time utilizing the system's virtual hand feature and waiting to be acknowledged. Please note this meeting is being recorded, both voice and video, and to remember your mic may be live. I will mute any microphones that carry any feedback or interruptions. If you are a caller that has been muted, you may unmute yourself by pressing *6. Any person in the virtual meeting causing a disruption or being inappropriate will be removed from the meeting. If I may also remind those physically in attendance, please utilize microphones so that the virtual audience and a clear recording of the meeting is produced. Thank you, Board Chair.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the Art in Public Places meeting of February 6, 2023 at 6:01 p.m. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Board Member Gail Blair Lewis.
Present.
Board Member Paul Abrams.
Present.
Board Member Lauren Mondell.
Present.
Chair for the evening, Jennifer Estes.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next up, we have the approval of the agenda. I'd like one of the board members or ask one of the board members to make a motion to remove the oath of office.
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
And who made the first motion?
Paul Abrams.
And the second motion? Was made by
Lewis.
Thank you. We have a motion by Board Member Abrams, seconded by Board Member Blair Lewis. Roll call. Board Member Blair Lewis?
Present.
I need an affirmative yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chair or Chair Estes?
yes.
Board Member Mondell?
Yes.
Board Member Abrams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. May we
Thank-
also have an actual approval of the agenda, Chair?
Yes, please. Approval of the Paul Abrams chair?
Another motion.
Of the approval of the agenda.
Um,
The first motion was to make the change. The second motion is to approve the agenda.
Okay, is there any motions to approve the agenda as presented?
I make a motion
To approve the current agenda?
to approve the current agenda.
Name?
Abrams.
Thank you.
Second motion?
This is Board Member Lauren Mondell. I second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call. Board Member Blair Lewis.
Yes.
Board Chair Estes.
Yes.
Board Member Mondell.
Yes.
Board Member Abrams.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have on the agenda minutes for approval from the September 22nd, 2022 meeting. May I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion. Abrams.
Thank you.
Board,
Second?
Board Member Blair Lewis seconds the motion.
Thank you. Roll call. Chair Estes.
Yes.
Board Member Mondell.
Yes.
Board Member Abrams.
Yes.
Board Member Blair Lewis.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
New business. AIPP-2022-01, the applicant is requesting approval of a proposed art sculpture installation called Orange with Three Blossoms for the James Business Park development. The subject application is located at 17035 and 16935 Persimmon Boulevard, submitted by Planning and Zoning. May I have the staff presentation from Planning and Zoning?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, board members. For the record, Osniel Leon, Senior Planner for the City of Westlake. Before you is the application for the James Business Park art sculpture at Pod G Southwest. It's the AIPP 2022-01. The applicant is requesting approval for a public art sculpture installation for the James Business Park development located within the Pod G Southwest. In accordance with ordinance number 2021-12, all non-residential development projects with building construction costs of $1 million, as determined by the city's building official or more, shall be subject to the requirements of these ordinance. The non-residential development must either, one, contribute 1% of the building construction costs of the project as a fee of the art acquisition fund, or provide artwork that has appraised value equal to 0.75%, which would be 0.75% of the building construction costs. There are some artwork that are ineligible to comply as proposed artwork. Arts on objects which are mass-produced of a standard manufacturers, such as playground equipment, fountains, statuary elements, signage, maps, corporate logos, should not be considered as artwork. Reproductions by mechanical or the means of original artwork, except in cases of limited editions controlled by the artist, CAD sculptures, film, video, photography, printmaking, or other media arts, or commercial expressions, including design elements as related to the visual identity of a developer or occupant of the building, such as logo, trademark, color scheme, theme, even if created by an artist. The proposed is the applicant has proposed to provide artwork on site. Per the applicant submitted estimated cost of vertical construction costs, the building is approximately $13 million as proposed, and the artwork is considered to be, and I just learned it's about $200,000, which exceeds the 0.75% of the cost. The proposed sculpture would be located at the northwest corner of the site, and the applicant has revised the previously approved master signage plan to accommodate the proposed art sculpture, installation, and monument sign. Again, this is the James Business Park site plan, and here in yellow, you'll see the location, general location of the proposed sculpture. And again, the applicant has revised the master signage plan to accommodate and include the sculpture as well. The design and aesthetic movement called Orange with 3 blossoms, that's the proposed sculpture, includes 3 orange blossom flowers, each with 13 anthers, totaling 39 anthers, which represents the Westlake as the 39th municipality, as per the applicant's statement. Provides the viewer with optical illusion of movement as they walk or drive by the sculpture. And the anthers are a vital part of the flower, responsible for the pollination seeds and the next generation of orange blossoms. The designage area font and silver color connects to the silver accents on the buildings and complements the spherical shape of the artwork. And here's some details on the proposed sculpture, and as well as the included signage. The sculpture will be located at the northwest corner of the site, and is complemented by landscaping. The proposed landscaping plan proposes small ligustrum trees behind the art to create a green barrier, flowering shrubs, and the base of the sculpture will be covered with blue glass rocks, and large palms are provided for scale. The application complies with the sections of the ordinance, which includes the exhibition and experience of the artist. This artist has 20+ years designing large monuments, kinetic light interactive sculpture for public places around the world, including Russia, China, Europe. The sculptural designs ranging from size from 2 feet all the way to 1,000 feet in height. The ability of the artist to complete the project, for the applicant statement, again, he possesses extensive experience, specializes in this type of design and execution of large to monumental environmentally interactive kinetic and light sculptures for public places. And again, the proposed sculpture complies with established standards of Ordinance 2021-12 and the zoning requirements for setbacks and landscaping. The sculpture also has to comply with required lighting. The sculpture will be lit from dusk until midnight with in-ground LED spotlights around the orange sphere and in-ground directional LED spotlights. This proposed sculpture, in accordance with Ordinance 2021-12, should not be altered or removed from the site without prior consent of the City Council. According to the applicant, there will be a maintenance agreement between the property owner and the company that fabricates and installs the art to perform regular maintenance. The applicant will be required to submit an executed maintenance agreement prior to issuance of any building permit and is included as a condition of approval. And again, the artwork complies with all the building zoning and fire codes requirements. The staff does recommend approval with the following conditions. The sign shall be relocated as to not encroach into the landscape or site buffers of the site. And an executed maintenance agreement shall be provided to the city prior to building permits issuance, and the applicants agreed to these conditions. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will hear a presentation from the applicant.
Just give me just a second. Thank you, Zoe. For the record, Donaldson Hearing here tonight on behalf of the applicant. I do have with me Juliana, who is with the developer of the site and the James Business Park. So we really are excited to present this. This is the first piece of art in public places that's going to be constructed here in the city, and we think that this is a good example of what we'll want to see in the future. When the code was written, it was specifically written to encourage developers to do the art on site, as opposed to the going through a process and spending the time and just writing as opposed to just writing a check. And so this has worked well. And when we had designated a spot on the site plan when this came through to City Council many months ago, and we really located one of the most significant sites in the city, which is the intersection of Town Center Parkway South and Persimmon, where Persimmon South intersects. So it's a very, very prominent site in the western portion, ultimately, when the western portion of Westlake is developed. So really, really excited about that. The site plan is on the screen, and of course, there is the location. As was pointed out, the artist spent a lot of time, as you could see, being very, very thoughtful in terms of, what type of piece of art should be at this location and really what should it resemble and what was the history and the DNA of Westlake. And he really nailed it because it was all about Calorie Judge Groves. And so one probably would have to really look and think and contemplate really, what is this piece of sculpture? And when you understand the inspiration from the artist, it really comes pretty clear. So here's just a vantage of that intersection, which has now been completed. I saw some landscaping and trees on Town Center Parkway South have now been installed. So we're looking forward to coming in with the building itself. For those of you who weren't here when the building came forward, so James Business Park will be the home and headquarters of a local e-commerce company who will be growing into the building. They'll be taking the majority of the building up front and then ultimately growing into the entirety of the building. Very nicely done. So you'll see some of the colors and the hues of the building and how the sculpture really ties into that. This is the site plan, and we were very deliberate with the landscape. The globe or the orange that's being displayed is 9 feet tall and obviously 9 feet wide. So we've designed it so it sits on top of what we're referring to as really like a 2-foot plateau. So it's elevated just a little bit. So it's not really a berm, but really more of a nice plateau. And then with a very, very simple landscape statement with the dark green ligustrum in the background so as not to compete with the art. We didn't want a bunch of vertical palm trees that would be competing with the art. We want the art to be the element. We want to reinforce the size of that statement. So we have some flowering trees in the back, some Bulnasia trees that will pick up on the yellow of the that's used within the flowers themselves. Here's another view. This is a 3D, so you can see. Well, we have some palms that are off in the backdrop. We didn't really want anything competing with it, and it's really nice. This corner, was approved to have a large, typical monument sign there, and now it's really a very integral statement that's really worthy of the city of Westlake. So, very, very excited about it, and we've been able to, integrate the signage as a part of the art, so it's one and landscape, so it's one comprehensive statement. So it's always something that we try to achieve in art in public places projects. The artist, had put a lot of thought into this. As Alsnell had pointed out, the flowers with the blossom and the anthers represents Westlake as being the 39th city. So not only the orange groves from Cowrie Judge groves to the 39 anthers representing the city, and also the anthers being a part of the vital part of the flower, really meaning the new generation of Westlake that is to come. So just super excited about what we've been able to bring forth for you. Again, very, very well done. We do have a materials board that's here that shows the colors. This is a high-grade stainless steel, which you've probably seen other features like nothing like this. This is a unique piece, but a number of the pieces and art that we've worked with artists on in the city of Palm Beach Gardens have been basically high-grade stainless steel, and this is really exciting when you look at the geometry and the mathematical components that go into the art, so that it will be this moving piece that every day when you see it, the light will reflect and refract a different way. It's really going to make it a very, very dynamic piece here in the city. Also, as pointed out, the cost of this art is now much, much closer to $200,000. So it's a little bit 2 times what the city requirement is. And it gets just the cost of fabricating and manufacturing of these types of elements. But, it's nice to have a piece right out of the gate that's a little bit more monumental in size. So we have something to refer to, because others are going to, look to, okay, well, what was built? And so, this is a great piece. And having done many similar pieces in the gardens, I can tell you that this will make a real statement there. So those are the materials, the orange. For the orange, again, that's high-grade stainless with the green and the yellow for the flowers. It really kind of sets everything up for us. So that's our presentation. Juliana is here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for attending. We're very excited and happy to answer any questions that you all have. Did you want to say something, Juliana? Juliana had a few words that she would like to say.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to say a quick hello and introduce myself. As Don said, we're an e-commerce company. Our company name is Jamlin Supply, and we own James Business Park. We're so excited to move out here. My brother Ben founded our company about over a decade ago, and we found ourselves busting at the seams and looking for larger space warehouses, and just knew it was time that we had to find our headquarters. So we're so very happy to be coming here to Westlake. Spearheading this art project has been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. Working with the artists and fabricators to fine-tune an art sculpture like this that was important to us as being from here originally. It's been one of my favorite projects so far. Normally, a requirement isn't an enjoyable thing for a company to do. However, this one was quite enjoyable and a pleasure to oversee and develop. The art sculpture is over double the required budget, like Don stated, because we didn't want to do just the bare minimum. We wanted to add an art sculpture that we were proud of, something that our staff and associates and vendors, and of course the public could enjoy and take in. as they pass by that intersection. I've enjoyed every step from interviewing artists and fabricators, touring the studios and driving around South Florida to view various types of public art sculptures. The artist Ralfonso, I think he did an amazing job. He took our ideas, he transformed them into this beautiful piece of art. And it's meaningful not only to us as a company who has roots here, but I believe also to the new beginnings of Westlake and this new city. With your support and recommendation today, I am excited to see this beautiful sculpture come to life, and I'm looking forward to viewing it daily as I drive onto our campus. I do have a couple of brochures here. It's from the fabrication company EES Design, so you can see some of their works. I'll just leave that. Do you want me to take it? Yeah. And thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And can we see the material board?
Yeah.
Touch it. It's great.
So we are happy to answer any questions that you have. And
Thank you. We'll now take board comments and any questions on this item. Board Member Blair Lewis, any questions?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. You said that the artist had other work in Palm Beach Gardens, or the materials have been used in the sculpture?
the materials have been used in Palm Beach Gardens in a number of different ones. So the molecule, which I call it the molecule that you'll see when you come off of Donald Ross Road in front of the
Right.
UTC Carrier building, that's polished high-grade stainless steel. And then a similar one, not similar, a very much different piece we just maybe 2 years ago put in front of the Marriott south of PJ Boulevard. And it's, again, high-grade polished, high-grade stainless steel, has a very similar finish to that. On that particular one, it had a polished inside and a colored, solid color on the outside. So it's very good, sustainable, structural material that lasts.
Do you have any sense of then what is the effort or the monies needed for maintenance for that?
Typically, it's just providing, a cleaning of it on an annual basis or so, and maybe one in 10, 15 years, providing some polish on it, some light grade wax, in order to basically get off what we get from the ultraviolet rays, right? You'll see that things getting cloudier, no different than you see your pavers getting a little bit dimmer.
And does that maintenance schedule also include like the upgrade of maintenance of the landscaping, the lighting, et cetera?
Yeah, the landscaping obviously would be maintained integrally with the overall landscape component for the project, but the maintenance and the attention to the art, obviously that landscaping should be held to the highest standard.
No further questions from Board Member Blair Lewis.
Board Member Abrams?
Yes, hi. I actually have a couple of comments, and I don't really know who it's directed at. So does the landscaping fall under the artist or the city, or is it all in totality?
The landscaping, I'm the landscape architect for the project, so I basically did the landscape design, but so it all falls in to the composition. So we want landscaping there to complement it.
Yeah, so my only, I guess just a little bit about me, my background's in safety and security, and I'm actually a certified practitioner for crime prevention through environmental. Yep. So, obviously my fear is that this being a new sculpture at a busy intersection, we might have some people interested and some younger kids maybe thinking it's, a place that they can come and maybe climb or get close to or touch. So, the ligustrums I don't have an issue with. I understand the greenery and the backdrop, but maybe some of the lower lying vegetation around it, maybe something like on the presentation it says Golden Beach Creeper or something to that effect. I don't know if there's a way that we can incorporate maybe a safer barrier or something that might. I know the structure being 9 feet tall on a 2 foot platform, that makes it about 11 feet, but I want to make sure that it's not easily accessible by foot. And it looks like there's no really barrier from the sidewalk coming off, like to approach it. So that was kind of one of my main concerns. And if there's not a way to incorporate some of that landscaping as a deterrent, maybe we can just have some sort of surveillance coming off of the building. And
Yeah, I think the surveillance off of the building probably makes a lot of sense. And there are ways where you could have sensors so that it tells you if something is out there. We intentionally didn't bring any sidewalks or anything near it. So, I mean, it's kind of out, and it's also visible. We tried to keep it as open and as visible as possible.
Yeah.
Certainly understand, if it were adjacent to a sidewalk, then we bring in agaves and things that would poke you. But at the same time, we just didn't want to detract from the beauty of this particular piece of art.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Other than that, I think it pays homage to where, this all started from. I grew up out here, so I know it was all orange groves at one point. So, and I know it needs to be seen from most of the sides. So ultimately, that was my only comment and feedback. So as long as it's on the record, and I think as long as the building's okay to even do some sort of surveillance on it, just as I know that's more of a reactionary thing than a proaction, but I think it's forward thinking for the city, and it just
The
protects.
building in the backdrop is 50 feet, probably at the parapet. So they get a couple cameras on there. You'll be able to have good
Yeah.
surveillance.
It's just more safety for the city and the business.
No,
part.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
And the whole project is very well lit as
Okay.
well.
That's it for Paul Abrams.
Board Member Mondell?
Hi, I'm board member Lauren Mondell. I have a few questions as well. This was kind of touched on our last meeting by Chair Nancy Bongiovanni. But is there a process which we are to be reviewing or approving the artwork? I know she had asked if there was a template at a prior meeting, and I don't believe there were any type of guidelines. Has any been established since our last meeting?
Truly to it.
If I might, this is DJ Duty, City Attorney. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
In response to the question, board member, there's criteria for review of artwork set forth in the ordinance. And I'll just cite it very quickly. In making its recommendation to the city council, the board shall consider the quality of the artwork, the exhibition and experience of the artist's works in public collections and previous public art purchases or commissions, the ability of the artist to complete the project within a specified schedule, and the compliance with the standards of this chapter. That is what the enabling legislation establishes as your criteria.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So just some other further questions. Does the proposed artwork, is it consistent with the aesthetic for the city of Westlake?
As the planner and landscape architect has planned everything here in the city of Westlake, it absolutely is. It's consistent and appropriate.
Okay. Does the proposed art meet other design requirements, for example, signage, typography, and color?
I think that it does. I think it ties in with the building and satisfies all the design, criteria.
Okay. And this is just a general question. Should works of public art for the city be consistent in nature or unique?
Unique. Yeah, and again, I'll give you just a little bit. It's good to have diversity. It's good to have diversity. And in Palm Beach Gardens, which in our most closest city with the largest collection of art, there's a lot of different artists. There are one or two artists who have done more than others. some of the artists that have done more have actually been very, very creative. So each of their art pieces look very, very different. And it's been expressed in many different ways. In some cases, freestanding, some cases integrated into the building. We just finished it's not built yet, it's getting ready to go under construction, a really cool piece of art that was integral with the design and the architecture of the building from day one. It was integrated with a whole statement. Like this way, they've integrated the signage into it. So that's the ultimate, is when you can really have it integrated like they've been able to do it into the project. But you want diversity.
Okay. Let's see. Going back to the artist experience, does the artist have experience with static works of art? I know it mentioned kinetic and light.
Well, I'm sure the artist does. Juliana, are you aware?
Yeah.
And this, while it's not moving, it's intended to exhibit movement as you walk through it because of the spiral. So as you drive by it, it will look differently from every angle.
And then I know in terms of the budget for this, it's like twice is what was proposed initially. So when we received the agenda, it was set at 100,000. And I know you had mentioned not wanting to, or I can't remember the exact expression, exactly what you had mentioned, but like where is the additional cost going?
Really, it started, I mean, it's just
Mhm.
there's doing the powder coating, it's a higher grade. So, less maintenance, but it lasts better in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Came in very expensive. And stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maintenance comes in with the steel and also with the fasteners and things like that. But I think picking a high grade metal, sign to it and blossom that.
Okay.
And it's exciting. I'm glad when she sent me the email today, I was afraid she was going to say, oh, we can't do it, because it's such a beautiful piece. So really excited, Juliana.
Can I interject though? Was the question like who absorbs the cost of the increase?
Well, yeah, that's another question too. Like, what are the implications of going over the budget as well?
Is that a city?
Our burden, developer's
Okay.
burden,
All right, no,
benefit to the city.
just thought it was
Yeah.
worth noting.
I was just curious, I guess.
Yes, yeah, no, it's that just wanted to make sure.
Well, and it's, this is the
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
And art comes in all different forms. And, Juliana and her team really took this serious, and they made fun out of it. So often, there are times when you see just somebody wanting to go find a piece of art and just plop it down, plop art. This was thoughtful, and as you can see.
Mhm.
It's important to us that the first piece, because we're excited that we're like the first.
I'm sorry, can we just get you to go to the podium, please? Thank you.
I don't know about that. We were very excited that we're the first piece, in the art program, to be hopefully approved here today. But Westlake, it was important to us to represent something that was from our past and then also for the future. So hence the orange blossoms and representing Florida as the state flower, and the anthers representing, the 39th municipality really pays that homage to the past, but then also looks forward. So that was important to us. So the budget, it is higher than we anticipated, and well worth it though.
Okay.
No further comments.
Board Member Estes, myself. There's a question, or there was a comment made that it's only going till midnight to be lit. Is there a reason why you cut off at midnight?
I think that was a requirement of the ordinance, but it's a requirement of the ordinance. We probably, if there's no objection, would leave it on dawn to dusk. Because that's also gets into the security, having it well illuminated.
Will the plants that are being put in or installed, are they going to be matured to where they look like that already? Or is it going to be something that's going to have to grow into that?
So that's
Aesthetic.
fairly, we're using, you know, if you were looked at, we're using like, you know, 8-foot ligustrum trees behind it to kind of form a green wall. It'll be very lush, as like everything that you see here in Westlake.
Okay. And then I really only had one question, being that y'all keep mentioning we're from Florida, we're in hurricane land. How does that work as far as,
Meets all required wind loads and design standards that are there. So it has to meet the Southern Standard Building Code, and it's, you know, being engineered by the, you know, fabricator that Juliana handed out to you, who's done many fabrications for other artists. So
okay? And just out of curiosity, did this artist find you or you found this artist?
We found this.
she found the artist.
Okay,
Did you want to ask more on that?
I did. Just, have you used him before in anything that you guys have done?
No.
And is it only him, or obviously you must have a team that's going to be putting all this together?
Yes, then that's the pamphlet that you're looking at. That's EES Design. So they do the fabrication. They put everything together. They have a really nice studio down south. They bring everything here. We're going to be doing the pouring of the concrete, and they're going to be installing everything.
Is there a date when that's coming?
Well, hopefully soon after the building.
After the building.
Around the same, shortly after.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There being no further comments, we will entertain a motion to approve and recommend AIPP 2022-01 to City Council.
Board Member Abrams makes the motion to approve.
Board Member Blair Lewis seconds that motion.
We have a motion by Board Member Abrams, seconded by Board Member Blair Lewis. Roll call. Board Member Mondell.
Present.
Yeah, affirmative, yes or no? Thank you. Board Member Abrams.
Yes.
Board Member Blair Lewis.
Yes.
Chair Estes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much for having us, and look forward to doing this. Thank you for all the thoughtful comments, and really excited. So we will have something to point to when other applicants come forward. They've done such a good job. So a nice standard, very high bar that you just set, but thank you very much.
It looks
Congratulations.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And very well thought out with the orange blossom. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other comments from the board or from staff?
No.
Chair, if I may, I just want to thank the board for being so responsive to the call to set this meeting, and then also, most importantly, for you all showing up today and then being so well prepared. Thank you.
You're
Welcome.
There being no other comments, we will move on to public comments. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to speak. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card should be completed and returned to the city clerk. When you are called to speak, please go to the podium or unmute your device, and prior to addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record.
Board Chair, I received no public comments prior to the meeting. However, I'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand or unmute their device. If you are a caller that has been muted, you may press *6 to speak. Please state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes. We do have a comment from Alicia Torres. Ms. Torres, please go ahead.
Hi, yeah, Alicia Torres, 5847 Whippoorwill Circle. On an administrative note, I just wanted to say I'm really happy with the board's thoughtful comments and questions here. I'm really impressed and excited to see how you guys help our city develop aesthetically. And then I want to speak to Julianne and the James Business Park group. I'm as a resident, I'm just completely astounded by this piece of art. It's above and beyond anything I was expecting way back when Vice Mayor Katrina Long Robinson, had this idea to have this Arts in Public Places program. And so I just really appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into it, how stunningly beautiful it is. And you really have set a wonderful bar now going forward. So well done, golf claps. Thank you very much.
She says thank you. We'll give the virtual audience an additional moment. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand. If you're unable to raise a virtual hand, please state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes. We have no additional comments, Chair.
There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 6:40 PM.
Thank you.
You're welcome.